It's been a privilege and a pleasure to have been your president for the last 12 months. The first TUC president to come from a unified professional body and trade union, the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy. The first TUC president to serve alongside a woman TUC General Secretary. You are right, Congress, that has been very special. Now, I had an inkling my year would be a busy one, and I wasn't wrong, but I found it very rewarding, especially the opportunity to take our core trade union messages out to wider audiences, from the October 20th rally in Hyde Park last year through to the Burst and Strike School rally just last weekend in Norfolk. In between, I have chaired, addressed, and indeed eaten my way through conferences, seminars, festivals, rallies, award ceremonies, memorials, equality and youth events. People ask me what the highlights have been as TUC president, and that's a hard question, because in many ways everything has been a highlight. Even chairing General Council meetings, if you can believe that. But my journey in the northeastern Yorkshire with the TUC Austerity Uncovered bus will stay with me for a long time, Congress. I heard stories of hardship, confusion, and outright panic, created by the cuts and not a coalition politician in sight. The opportunity to play a bigger role in the TUC's international work has been special too. International solidarity is hardwired into our DNA in the trade union movement, and with just cause. This year saw politicians from Northern Ireland travel to Colombia to help with a very fledgling peace process there, thanks to the incredible organising abilities of Justice for Colombia. But the fact that the Colombian speaker, who we were hoping to welcome here to Congress, has been detained and imprisoned by the authorities show how far there is to go. Concrete steps have also been taken this year to build a Europe-wide response to the dilution of workplace rights and the impact of austerity. And the first of the Miami Five has finally been released from prison, celebrated by Cuba Solidarity this summer. Let us not rest until the other 4 men are back home free with their families. Now, Congress, my presidency has brought the odd lighter moment, like waiting to be introduced to somebody and seeing their eyes drift over my shoulders, wondering who the bloke called Lesley is. Like speaking at the London Pride Festival this June, where I felt a bit like the warm-up act for boy band Class A. They were a very good band, I have to say, with a nod to the entertainment unions, as was the whole festival, and I was proud to be there. Turning to this week's conference, like all the TUC presidents before me, I thought long and hard about the wording on my Congress badge. I settled on equality, jobs and fair pay. Jobs and pay to echo 2 of the key priorities in TUC's campaign plan, A Future That Works. Real jobs, real pay, not short-term, 0 hours, low-paid, low-respect jobs. But my badge starts with Equality Conference, because I believe that this has to underpin everything we do. Not in spite of the economic situation, but because of the economic situation. And I mean equality in its very widest sense. Freedom from discrimination, of course, including from the hateful EDL who tried to invade my home borough of Tower Hamlets yesterday and failed. But also, thank you. And those thanks need to go to the protesters who were part of that effort to make sure they failed. But in talking about equality, I'm also referring to freedom from income inequality, from tax inequality, from health inequality, from unequal access to justice in the workplace, and from having no voice in the workplace. The trade union movement has always stood for fairness and equality, and our challenge right now, I sincerely believe, is to cut through the belief, the almost fatalism, that there is no alternative to what is going on at the moment. No alternative to the grubby spectacle of some of Britain's highest paid workers delaying their bonuses to take advantage of the Chancellor's cut in the top rate of tax. Is this really just how it is? Food prices rising 4 times faster than average pay. What can you do? Economic recovery leaving many ordinary people behind. Well, hasn't it always been that way? No, it hasn't always been that way. And no, it doesn't have to be that way now. Our economy can be run in a different, in a fairer, more sustainable way. And the TUC campaign plan shows how. When it comes to achieving better representation in public life, I believe we are showing the way. We have Frances at the helm of the TUC and more women coming through individual unions. Not job done yet, but think how much better the worlds of banking, of business, the media and Parliament would be if more people followed our example. And think how far we have come from the days when women coming up to the rostrum at this Congress would be wolf whistled. And who here would dream of telling a woman who is expressing a view to calm down, dear? Before I wind up, I must say a few words about my own sector, health. When I spoke at the October 20th rally last year, I quoted from the NHS Constitution, the most important phrase from there: the NHS belongs to the people. How many of us fear that when we look back in 10 years' time, this may no longer be true? If we want to stop our NHS being turned into just another business commodity, if we want to stop it being talked out of existence by a relentless focus on bad news, with no recognition to the good work going on day in, day out, then now is a time to rally behind it. Not out of self-interest, Congress, but because the NHS, like our schools, like the Royal Mail, is part of what makes us a civilised society. That's why we'll be standing up for the NHS on the 29th of September in Manchester. Now, before I close, it is traditional for outgoing TUC presidents to say a few words of thanks, and I'm not going to book that tradition. I want to thank my own union, the CSP, for their support and encouragement over the past 12 months. And I'm proud that coinciding with my presidency, the CSP has received accreditation as a London living wage employer, and we have also finalised our first ever apprenticeship scheme. I want to thank all of my colleagues on the TUC General Council for their comradeship and their advice, especially my predecessor, Paul Kenny. I want to thank my partner, Graham, for being my chief blog advisor, my chauffeur, and my confidant. Ever a glutton for punishment, Graham is here today. I think he'd be a bit embarrassed about that. And I want to thank all of the staff at the TUC. You see behind the scenes when you are president, and in my book, the people that we have working for us at the TUC, out in the regions as well as in Congress House, are amazing. Now, I opened my address on the theme of unity, and I want to end on this same theme. We are a diverse movement. We all have our own views on how to go forward, and sometimes we disagree. But I firmly believe that we are strongest when we come together, and we should never forget this. Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of Congress.